Today I'm talking to a legendary New Zealand DJ, a record store owner, a record label A&R, and a drum and bass promoter. In fact, it's all one person. How's it going, Jeff?
Good, and a distributor.
And a distributor. Shit, see, I'm leaving stuff out. Anyway.
I'm a drum and bass octopus.
Drum and bass oracle, even. A lot of people do credit you with sort of first hearing drum and bass, a lot of New Zealanders anyway. Where did you first hear the sound?
I first heard it in Christchurch. I was living in Christchurch and I was going to raves and stuff. I was working at Echo in Christchurch and kind of met Matt, Slipmatt and James Pylons, and they were buying records from the store. Got on with them and kind of went to see them play, and I was like, shit, what is this stuff? And I was kind of DJing at the time, DJing hip hop and techno and house and all sorts of shit. And then I kind of heard that. I was like, I need to know more about this stuff, and that was it, you know. And I started buying it, and then that was all I wanted to DJ. I was like, fuck all this other shit. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, you can say what you want, doesn't bother me. So when you first started sort of playing it out, how was it sort of received?
Well, kind of at that time, all the gigs that were happening in Christchurch, the drum and bass stuff, or jungle or whatever you want to call it, was always kind of second room stuff and raves and shit, you know. And there was a rave I played with Riddle, I think it was, up in the hills in Christchurch, and you know, we actually got to play in amongst all the trance and stuff, but it was all kind of mixed in together. And my idea was like, it's about time that we did something that's not mixed in, that gives it the kind of priority that it deserves. Because, you know, I was selling loads of records and there was loads of people into it. You could tell it was ready to go, and I was I was writing for Pavement at the time, and I was in touch with all the local record companies, and it was around the time that Timeless and Logical Progression 1 came out, and I was like, I know, let's do a release party for that. And I started working part-time for Espresso 124, this old cafe bar in Christchurch, and he was up for it. So the first kind of all drum and bass party that I can, from my memory, someone's probably going to prove me wrong, was the Logical Progression party that I did at Espresso 124. And then I really enjoyed doing that and kind of wanted to do more, so we did bits and bobs. And then the first international was like Spring Hill Jack, I think. They were, and that was like an all drum and bass party as well. And it was just really, really exciting time because everything was so new and kind of like no one had done this shit before, you know. So yeah, it was cool.
So I might get you to just keep on going. Can you tell us about a few of the other parties that you put on, like some of your residencies and sort of regular local nights?
Well, I kind of stayed in Christchurch for a little while, and then I got a job offer in Auckland to be the resident DJ at Calibre when Calibre first opened, and I was playing house and stuff, and I took the job on and said to them, the only thing I want you to promise me is that you'll let me do an all drum and bass night. And they'd had all drum and bass nights, I believe, down at Corsaleb and stuff, but there wasn't one running at the time. And so I put together the Breaks, which was a Thursday night at Calibre, and it kind of came at the right time when everyone was just going crazy about drum and bass. And we used to get like 400 to 500, like I think we had 600 one night on a Thursday, you know. And it was at this crazy developing time where there was kind of no segregation in dance music. Everyone went to each other's parties and stuff, and so, you know, you'd see all the house people there on Thursday and we'd go to their parties on the weekend and stuff. And so there was that, and that went on for about 6 or 8 months, and then we moved it a couple of places, but the core of it was really at Calibre, and that was awesome times, like a real special, you know, unity vibe, not just amongst the drum and bass people, but amongst the whole city, just like, this is drum and bass, and we love it kind of thing. And you know, there was a core DJs. There was me, Riddle, 48 Sonic, and Aaron, and we just kind of just vibed off each other, and there's so many exciting records. I remember the day we all got shadowboxing, it got played and rewound 4 times in the night, you know. And then after that, I kind of I went through a period where I felt like the scene was getting a bit too hard, and there needed to be a lighter side to it, and I created a night called Glide, and we started that. That was actually the first ever drum and bass night at Foo, and they weren't doing drum and bass at the time, but they were like hip hop and downbeat, stuff like that, and I kind of said, well, you know, this is a cool club, I'd like to do some drum and bass here, I came up with Glide and kind of put that on, and that went for, I can't remember how many years. Went well though, and that kind of came to its natural end. But while doing that, when I first moved to Auckland to do the Calibre thing, I linked up with D-Rave, and we kind of had the same ideas about what we wanted to do, and I had become friends with Doc Scott and Chemistry and Storm, and I had aimed to bring them out. And he'd done Ed Rush and Groove Rider, and so we decided to work together, and that kind of, you know, it worked well for many years. We did like most of the internationals that came through for, I'd say, 8 or 9 years together, you know.
The label, as we get onto that, how long had you been thinking of starting your own thing? Like,
well, I had Subtronics recordings that I used to do with Dave when we were doing Subtronics. We kind of created that label as a platform for local producers, because we created it because Potts and Josh were making a few tunes we thought were kind of viable on the world stage, and I was like, I had connections with distributors and stuff because of what I had been doing distribution, and I thought, I'll give this a go. And we put out a few records, you know, the first few Bulletproof records sold heaps, and there was not really any other producers making stuff at that time, so I had to kind of source stuff overseas. I put out records by like Juju, Mathematics, Baron. I put out one of Baron's early records and stuff, and then Jay went and started his own label. So I was like, gee, thanks. But you know, he had to do his own thing, and they went and did Cyanide, and so the kind of label we were just so busy with promoting it, just wasn't getting attention that it needed, so we just let that die pretty much. And then when I started Samurai, changed the name of the company to Samurai, and was doing my own thing, I thought I had tunes that were getting sent to me that were like needing to come out and weren't really getting respect because they were like from producers in New Zealand that no one really knew, and I'd built a relationship with Upbeats obviously and State of Mind from briefly managing them, and you know, and I thought I can, every other label that's coming out of New Zealand is kind of like, you know, you've got Uprising, which is a great label, it's Concord Dawn's label, you've got Non-Vogue, Upbeats label, SOM Music, State of Mind's label. I thought, you know, they're all great labels. What we also need is something that's not one person's platform, that can be there for people who, just anyone that makes a good tune, you know, a Kiwi tune. And obviously I don't think there's enough of Kiwi tunes to just put out only Kiwi stuff. So, you know, I called in a few favours with people that have become friends of mine, international guys, and was like, oh, this is what I want to do. You're part of, you know, you're like a kind of a, or what do you say, honorary member of our scene, you know, so contribute. And so they've given me tunes and stuff, and that kind of helps to bring the profile of the label up. So, you know, when the new Dose thing comes and it comes after a Clute thing or whatever, you know, then people they take the label a bit more seriously and they'll listen to these tunes, because that's what needs to happen. Over the years, you've got to build a reputation with the label so people will check you out, you know, so it's really important to do that, because otherwise tunes, really good tunes by little known artists, will just get lost.
So what's your sort of criteria for something you're looking to put out on Samurai? Sort of elaborate on good. What are you looking for?
Good tunes are good tunes, but you know, I veer towards the deeper stuff. Not so much really deep, but kind of the more music, not even musical, but you know, I'm not so much into the hard music, really hard music. I just I look for a good tune, but it's got to have some kind of staying power, you know, like there's so many tunes coming out that you've got to put a tune out that's actually going to last, that is going to mean something in 2 years, that's not just about the moment, you know. That's what I think is really important. I mean, you look back at records that came out 5 or 6 years ago, and there's not that many you can remember, you know, and that's kind of what I think in my head is it repeating on me enough so that I will think back and remember that tune as a point in time, as opposed to all the other ones that are around, you know.
Fair enough. So, as you said before, you've got a lot of international contacts in that, and we've established that like New Zealand's made its own special place on the drum and bass sort of map, if you will. What's helped us sort of get there?
New Zealand's a small place that's very passionate about stuff that they get into, and I think, you know, I'm not trying to take all the credit myself, but I think in the beginning of the scene, when we were kind of like straight onto it, and Subtronics was bringing out Groove Rider, Ed Rush, Trace, and Dot Scott and blah blah blah. Really, in the early days, I think the scene was built on really good foundations, not just by us, by the local DJs and stuff, and it was a really kind of, the passion's just so strong, and I think that it was, like I say, just built on a really good foundation, and there was always stuff for people to get excited about, and it's been like a community kind of vibe since the early days, and the guys that have come out here, all the DJs that have come out here from overseas from the early days have just, their input can't be overstated, because we wouldn't have the way we see music today without the way they've brought it to us, and that's I mean, it's shaped everyone's kind of, everyone's got their own little thing out of it, but it's definitely shaped the way New Zealanders like their drum and bass.
Nice one. Oh, thanks a lot for talking to me, and best of luck with the label and everything else in the future.
Peace.
Yeah. And for all you DJs who give me 1-word, 2-word answers, I'm not going to name names, but learn by example. Serious business. Peace.